Your friend and mine, TheFilmTwit, coming to you live and direct from the depths of the Twit Cave with more Marvel heroes on this Marvel morning. Let's get started. Now, as you can see, She-Hulk has gone away. I'm going to be giving Magneto a shot because it's a personal challenge. I've heard that he's absolutely no good now, and I want to see if I can get by with him.
He's in a no good Nick. I think that's what it is. It's not that the character's bad, it's just that he's a bad guy.
It's quite possible. I was actually having a conversation with some people before that most of the villains in the game seem to be underperforming at the moment. My counterpart in this Marvel Heroes adventure, as always, is the inimitable Frenzalo. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Oh, I am fine so far. We'll see how the rest of the day pans out. I'm doing my best. A happy Father's Day.
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't even think about that. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much.
So I figure, since we're still trying to level you up,
Is this Venom Rocket?
yes,
That's cool.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
Venom Spider Pig?
yep.
What a world we live in.
I know, right? The best part is the Venom Rocket, when he summons Groot, summons a Venom Groot.
Oh, so he summons as in like as a teammate
Well,
or
no,
team up, or is that one of his abilities?
it's one of his abilities is to summon Groot.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, there's a summoner build for Rocket and a gun build for Rocket. The summoner build has like turrets and mines and stuff like that, and you can summon Groot.
I think you may be talking about the next character I play.
Yeah, Rocket's a lot of fun. He's actually one of the most fun characters I had taken to 60. Very kinetic, very bouncy, and then his summon build just does all the damage forever.
Very cool.
Alright, so, what area of the story are you on?
In my mission tracker, it tells me to meet in Madripoor and talk to Agent Leslie Small on the Buccaneer Beach.
Alright, Chapter 3 it is.
How can you defend the humans, Kurt? Knowing they cast you out, humiliated you, tortured you? They would do it again if they had the chance.
Talk to Agent. Locate the Hydra Agent Griffith. William the Wolf. Hey, what's this thing?
This is a treasure room.
Cool.
My mind has never been more clear. This was meant to be. I've put you through hell for what I believe.
Those flying ones got
You're
a...
gonna have your brother interested.
Alright, I'm kind of digging that primary attack that I've got. Oh, I'm squishy.
Oh, me too. I have been. Hawkman over there is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Archangel. And because I am the comic book nerd that I am, I have to pick a team up that makes sense for the
If I had the
character.
option, I totally would.
Can turn the tide of war in our favor.
So, in the very awesome Uncanny X-Men run of a little while ago, Archangel was Magneto's effectively WMD. He was the weapon of last resort. Alright, what'd I get? Nice. Better unique. I could use the help from the defense rating, definitely. Alright, let's get back to it. One of the cool facets of Magneto, as you guys are seeing here, is he generates his resource by attacking people, which is magnetic debris, which then fuel his powers. So he doesn't get, like most characters, where his spirit just regens on its own. You have to be active about fighting. Really, other than his squishiness, I'm not seeing a big problem with Magneto. And he's kind of supposed to be squishy. He's a glass cannon. I mean, I'm doing plenty of damage, and I seem to be surviving just fine.
Give me one moment here.
Yeah. Vamp. What'd I get? Ooh, Juggernaut Medallion. Not very good for me, but probably worth hanging on to. Weapon X. Mine's better.
Alrighty. Oh, fire! That's not a feature.
Yeah, that would definitely be considered a bug. Oh, I gotta go the old-fashioned way. I probably could have just flown down there.
Ow.
I see you found Agent Green.
I did. You got lots of hit points.
Yay, birthday boost.
It's a celebration.
Thank you for playing Marvel Heroes. Here's a bunch of junk you won't be able to use.
Oops.
Well, I was joking, but,
Gotta keep it real. Oh, I missed. Making this difficult for Daddy, aren't you?
oops.
Wow. This guy over here. A little help, hero.
Alright, we gotta find this other jerk face. So,
Hey. Can we get everyone to be quiet? All of them.
we've got some news that some comics have been discontinued. Marvel's canceling some books.
Oh, and I read some stuff, so I got more comic-y things to talk about.
Oh, nice. What'd you read?
Well, why don't you talk about the cancellations that we heard about?
All right. I didn't want to because we're losing one of the books I really enjoy. But
Is it the one you were getting weekly or monthly? I'm sorry.
It's one of them, yeah. It's Spider-Man 2099, which I found out about because Marvel's a little weird. They don't actually announce cancellations. They just sort of
stop making them.
Yeah. And then
I noticed through finding out about the other ones that you just kind of find out from the artist or the writer or the editor or whatever that, oh yeah, this is the last one.
Yeah, they'll have a thanks for stopping by page in with the letters section of the last one, and that's usually all the warning you get. But I am a huge nerd, and I pay attention to the solicits. So I was clued into the fact that Spider-Man 2099 didn't have an issue past 25, which is next month's issue. So it looks like they're going to have to wrap some stuff up.
Yeah, he needs to calm down.
Other than that, we've got Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme that's getting canned as well.
Really?
Yep. It was floundering. The book wasn't all that good.
You know, I think you can tell which ones are being canceled by which ones they give you for free when you redeem the digital codes.
Is that one of the ones that you were able to pick
they've
up?
given me that Doctor Strange comic #1 like 5 times.
Doctor Strange or Doctor Strange and the Sorcerer Supreme?
Yeah, that specific one.
Okay.
And the Sorcerer Supreme. I mean, I read the first one and it was fine. It was interesting enough that I wouldn't mind reading the second one. But I think the problem is, I don't know how far they're into the series, but I know it starts off with him not having magic.
Right, that's been true of the core comic as well, though.
Oh, is it the case?
Which has been an interesting wrinkle. With
I can see it being difficult for people coming in because there's one fellow that I listen to who does a lot about comics and comic reviews and stuff like that, and he quotes one of the comic legends whose name escapes me, and he always says every comic is somebody's first comic.
Mm-hmm.
And having somebody come in and really enjoy the movie because the movie was excellent, and then coming in and all of a sudden, oh, hey, look at that, his abilities that I really enjoyed from the movie, they're not there, and he's just kind of chilling out with an axe.
Well, it's not quite as drastic as that. His magic is lessened, but it's steadily building back up. It was really more of a way to make Doctor Strange vulnerable.
Right, because it's me being new. It's to my understanding that Doctor Strange is very much a Superman-esque power level of character, the same way that Doctor Doom is.
Yes. Yeah,
the high-level magic stuff is tough to compare to.
Right, he definitely had a corner on the whole magic market. But that is not as much the case anymore. Most magic is in artifacts now. There are other mages that are on par, if not better, than him, just because of their specific talents.
And that makes me wonder if that's the one of the driving factors for making Doom the whole redeeming storyline that he's going through now, is because he was too powerful to stop. So rather than off him in some sort of goofy reason, have him switch sides so that he's not as powerful as he was before, or uses it for evil.
It's quite possible. Marvel really likes their anti-hero comics recently, so that's
well,
possible too.
I know their driving force is a lot different now than it has been in the past. They I've read something like somewhere between 90 and 100 comics they got running right now.
It's a high number.
Yeah, I think that's what they were talking about. I think they were saying 92 or something like that. So every time they cancel something, something else comes out, and none of the characters are getting the opportunity to get anywhere because they're canceled before their story arcs really start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was like that book, The Crew, which was I'm not going to say I was super excited about it, but I thought it sounded interesting, and it got canceled like after issue 1 came out.
Yeah, I think they made it to 3.
Well, they write comics 3 months out.
Right. So
they got back,
and I know it's a big deal to make it past issue 6.
Yeah. But they got back the numbers for issue 1, and I didn't look at the sales figures, but they were so abysmal that they canceled it on the spot.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest issue too with a lot of people is that you know what they say is that to get actual good solid change when it comes to habits or things that you're trying to just change in general, incremental change rather than going cold turkey is your best bet. And Marvel really over the past couple of years has cold turkeyed a lot of stuff. So instead of taking a couple of characters and slowly changing them over time, they've taken characters that wouldn't act the ways that they've been acting in a lot of the different comics, and they just they put them there for one reason or another.
Right.
And I know one of the biggest complaints from the reviews that I watched of the first Black Panther and the Crew was that Storm was not Storm.
Okay.
And you take an established character who's been around in comics since, what, the 60s? And all of a sudden change your personality. It's a little, that's your entry character. Black Panther is a cool side character, but I don't think Black Panther has ever been somebody's major go-to.
Right.
Black Panther has never been a Wolverine, right?
Right.
So their anchor character in that series was Storm, and they messed her up.
And that's been happening with other characters across the line. Civil War 2 had a lot of characters acting outside of their usual character definitions. Mm-hmm. Captain Marvel was nothing like she normally is.
Right, and you're talking about like moral decisions too, not just like, oh, I decided to wear a different hat today.
Right.
It's very much the personality of the character, and then you just kind of throw it out the window for one reason or another. That's one of because I was interested in I had taken a peek at, I think one of the free comics I got was the first issue of Deadpool and Spider-Man, and then I watched a couple of reviews on a couple of the issues, and they were talking about how Peter Parker would wear near the what Peter Parker would. And that the series finale was a disappointment. So I was like, okay, well, I don't have to mess with that now.
Right. It's kind of nice in this era of the internet that we have that resource. But at the same time, it's sort of like there have been comics that I have decided not to pick up because I heard some rando on the internet bad-mouthing them. And then when I went back, and when they were cheap, I picked them up, and I was surprised to see that my opinion was different than said person.
you know me, always the contrarian anyway. If everybody's been bad mouthing Secret Empire, so I can't read it. You know, so it's like I'm always the contrarian. I'll give something an opportunity, especially if a lot of people don't agree with it. So, easiest way to get me to read something or do something or listen to someone is find out that a lot of people don't agree with them. So, but right now it's not something that was really even on my radar. So it was more of just like a potential, maybe another pickup, and I just won't mess with that right now. Oh, hey, there's a little booger goblin fella.
Well, since we've talked about the cancellations, what did you decide to pick up?
Well, the missus has been following the all new Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm knee deep in this monster kill thing, so I'm gonna finish this up.
Yep.
There we go. So I've read. Well, we've got 1 through 3, but I've only read through 2, and that's neat so far. I don't know much about a lot of the characters. I mean, really, the only reason I know anything about Guardians of the Galaxy is because of the movies,
Right.
which I think is a lot of people's coming into. And it's fun so far. The Collector seems like an interesting character. And there's another fellow they talked to. I can't remember what his name was. And everybody's kind of doing their stuff. It's kind of neat having a group of, I guess you can kind of call them anti-heroes. Just kind of like holding together. You know, hey, just one more heist or whatever, then they kind of get themselves into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read the Star-Lord annual. Oh no, not Death. He's a necromancer.
Now watch out for this guy. He hits really hard.
Does he? Alright. Where'd he go? There he is. So the Star-Lord annual was pretty cool, but some of the events consist of things that I didn't know about because I didn't read Secret Empire, not Secret Empire, but Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
But I know now. It was a pretty cool story. It was a little predictable, but the art was good and the dialogue was pretty cool. So that was fun.
Now,
and then I got into. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Now, was that a lead-in or was that a one and done?
I don't know. It consists of there was an event that happened and Star-Lord had to escape, and he ends up crash landing and waking up on this planet that's kind of like a Old West kind of situation. And there's this, this bad fellow that's harassing the town, and so he gets deputized and all that jazz. So you can pretty much guess where it's going to go.
Yeah.
But the final confrontation, I don't know how much you want me to talk about it, but
you can chat about it. It's been out for long enough.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the final confrontation on it ends up not going in his favor, and so then Bruce Banner shows up.
Really?
He's kind of like he's kind of like this eccentric guy who's living in town, but he hasn't been there for very long. And Banner shows up, and he ends up utilizing. So I guess it's probably a lead-in because he utilizes him to help to defeat the bad guy, and then the bad guy's boss shows up, and he's like, "Oh, you'll pay for this because this is everybody here is dead, and I'm in charge of everybody who's here." Mwahaha. So he ends up escaping the planet, and as a result of escaping the planet, he's resuscitated on the name of their ship, the Marmalade or whatever it is. And and so it was like, oh, you know, all these crazy things happened, but it was all a dream kind of situation. So, but I don't think that's the last of the characters or whatever. But it was interesting and it was fun. And like I said, they make references to like me coming into comics recently didn't really know that Banner was dead.
Right.
So
yeah, that was a big part of Civil War 2. Was Banner dying.
And then another one that I decided to start reading as a result of a recommendation of one of the guys that I watch reviews for was Gwenpool.
Okay.
Yep. So I read a couple of snippets of some of the newer issues. I think they're on 16 or 18. I think just came out. And so I read the first issue of that, and that was pretty enjoyable. And then I showed the wife and my daughter, and they both liked it as well. So I think we're probably going to follow that. We're going to have to pick up the trades to catch up.
Yeah. I've been hearing good things about Gwenpool, but I haven't been following it. I was thinking about maybe picking it up on Marvel Unlimited.
Do you know what it's about?
I know
the story is goofy.
I know the core conceit is that she's the fourth wall breakingest of the fourth wall breaking characters.
Right, yeah. She's essentially from our world, essentially. And somehow ends up in, I'm assuming that's what issue 0 does, because I read issue 1, explain why she's in the Marvel universe, interacting with Marvel heroes, but she knows all the heroes because she's read all their comics. And so she knows that she's in a comic book, so she's not concerned about dying or having anything bad happen to her because she knows it's not, air quotes, real.
Right.
So she decided just to be a bounty hunter or something. So she likes using guns and shooting bad guys. And so in the issue that he reviewed, which I believe is the most recent issue or one of the most recent issues, she's back in our world. But she realizes she's still in a comic, and there's a lot of really cool stuff that result in her realizing that she's still in a comic book. Like she can see the title of the comic.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's walking down the street and she can see the title of the comic and things like that. So I was like, okay, you got my attention. One thing that I thought was strange though, in issue 1, the art style changes after there's like a prologue to kind of catch you up on the story.
Yeah.
And then the art changes, like a completely different artist. But the art that it changes to is the art that's in the series now. So I don't know if it's the gap from the artist that did 0 and part of 1 to who's doing the artist that's doing the series now, or what. But it's got a pretty cool art style. It's kind of a hybrid between a Japanese and American art style.
I know that one of the webcomic artists I follow, Giselle Legassi, did some of the covers, and she's got a very expressive art style, very cool, very sort of unique. So she's been kind of getting courted by the big two lately. She did some work on some IDW comics.
Oh, that's cool.
It'd be interesting to see if they decide to pick her up for something.
I know lately it seems like, well, from what I've read, like I'm going based off the experience of people who've been experienced for a while now, and they were talking about how they have nobody's been really jumping on anybody. There's just a lot of freelance stuff.
Right.
They don't want somebody was saying that it actively seems like they don't want to have another Jim Lee that they have to rely on. So the art style seems inconsistent, and a lot of times the people who have been around for a long time, their books seem like they've been rushed.
I guess I've seen that.
Almost like they're asking them not for their best. They're like, give us your 75%. Like, draw a couple panels with your eyes closed or something.
I guess I could see that. most of the books that I read have a pretty stylized art style already. So, like, Doctor Strange. The Doctor Strange comic has a very unique art style. It's very... It's hard to describe, in fact. But, Bacalo's art style is inimitable. But I'm trying to think of some of the more traditional comics I've been reading, and whether I've noticed deficits in the art on them. And I guess I have.
Well, one of the fellows that I follow did comic book art for a while, so he's kind of got an eye for it. And and one thing that's really neat is that I've learned a lot because he points out things like when they use clip art or they use photos and then trace over them and stuff like that. So he's got an eye for it. The whole tracing photos thing was a big problem a few years ago. Yeah, like the most recent issue of Hulk or She-Hulk or whatever the comic is called now, the one with She-Hulk in it.
Yeah, it's just called Hulk.
There's a lot of 3D models that are used, and so a lot of his critiquing when it comes to the art is he's like, there was no drawing done. It was all pictures that were traced over. Mm-hmm. And so he comes a lot of times when there's there's a negative to that because it seems like it's rush, and then he didn't much care for the story that they were doing. So, but that's the most recent one that I watched. He's like 3D model, and then he explains, of course, to people who don't understand what that means. That you go into a 3D modeling program and you manipulate it to the area you want to, or you manipulate the characters to how you want them to be, and then you take a screenshot or you export it and then you draw over top of it. And one of the things that he was pointing out is how you can tell that when characters... I don't think the characters were so much. I think it was mostly the sets. But how, like, elbows and arms don't stretch in the right direction, don't look correctly, and the proportions are incorrect as a result of using the 3D models.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's almost like you're just like... You go back and you look at the old Liefeld ones with all the pouches and the disproportionate bodies, and it's like, well, at least he was freehanding it.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I don't know. I guess I don't have as much of a problem with the 3D modeling as some might, because of the time constraints that these artists are being put under.
I could see that if it wasn't like if it was a new series they were starting, But a lot of them are like established characters and established storylines or continuations of event storylines, and it's like, give them a couple extra minutes.
Right.
Like they're trying to rush the Secret Empire stuff out so fast. They have to use a lot of computer coloring and 3D modeling, and then like wonky backgrounds that result in the art just not being there. And this is supposed to be a big event. This is supposed to be Civil War. This is supposed to be Civil War II. This is supposed to be something that's gonna... Yeah. This is supposed to be X-Men versus Avengers that you're... We've been running around attacking bad guys for so long, I forgot what we're supposed to...
You're the one with the quest.
I don't know. Hold on. I didn't even realize that you were following... oh, there's another idol over here, I think. Alright, now I need to go somewhere else now. There's also a Defend a Shield Expeditionary Forces, 6 of 9.
Yeah, that's in the next area over. So in other news, I've decided to revisit from some older games,
Like your mother Magda, you have grown.
and I picked up Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And boy, that's just a great game.
That's very cool. I, for one reason or another, I just can't seem to get into the Assassin's Creed games. I think I spent more time watching people play Assassin's Creed than actually playing it myself.
You should give Black
Now that I think
Flag-
about it, actually, that's probably my problem.
What, that you just watched it all?
Yeah, I've watched them all. And it's like, no, I don't do anything but watch this series. You don't understand.
You should. I'm gonna honestly,
Ooh,
I'm
birthday party.
gonna honestly suggest that you give Black Flag a shot because it's very unique. It's a pirate game, and we don't get enough of those. And by enough of those, I mean any of those. But the naval combat is very cool. It's got a lot of exploration, where you're out on the high seas and finding islands and digging up buried treasure and just very piratey
Yeah.
stuff.
That's my favorite part about Wind Waker.
The Black Flag has a lot of that, but in between finding islands and exploring them, you are blowing up enemy ships and firing cannons and swinging aboard the ship and taking on the crew. It's a very cool experience. I would argue it's the best Assassin's Creed that they've made so far.
It's the best Assassin's Creed because it's not Assassin's Creed.
Pretty much. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Alright, is that it? Find the poison glade in the bamboo forest.
Okay, we'll go and knock out the poison glade and then call it a morning.
Alright. There's an arrow that's pointing out over here. Alright. Poison glade time.
Hang on, I gotta teleport to you. The door never showed up for me. Bug report.
This is my evolution.
What level did you get to? You're level 39?
Am I? The leveling up in this game is very not
Use your words.
celebrated. I don't know what I'm looking for. It's not like, oh my god, you totally got the next level. Ah.
Yeah, it's a little understated.
It's very subtle. It's very much like, oh yeah, just another level, man. We was gonna take levels out, man, but some people like them.
Power of magnetism is unstoppable.
I wonder if these serpent men know Yig.
Oh, bring in the deep cuts references.
Cannot fight for much longer.
So far, that is my favorite power of Magneto's, where he just summons and hucks a car.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny. He must have brought his own supply.
He knows a guy who has a Jeep dealership. Ah.
Oh, speaking about guys who know guys and stuff, John Wick Volume 2 was definitely excellent, and you should watch it.
Alright, I'll keep that in mind. It's been on my short list since it was in theaters. But my short list is actually very long.
Oh, the Lego Batman movie was also...
Yeah, I did get a chance to catch that. Went with our good friend Dave to see that in the theater.
Oh, the game was very excited that I got to level 40, so... there's at least one time that it was like, hey! A thing just happened.
Alright, before we sign off, I'm going to remind you, don't forget to allocate your talents.
What is talents, Precious?
Okay, fair enough. We're going to give you a quick rundown of those. Go ahead and hit your power button.
Oh, look at that. I've got things to click.
Yep. For each few levels, you get, after you get to 30, each few levels gives you talent to choose from that augment your abilities and give you bonuses and all that good stuff. They're basically ways for you to customize your own special build.
Okay, very cool. Are these permanent? Can you get them back?
You can change them whenever you like.
Oh, okay. Willy-nilly. And... so that must have been what you were talking about by builds, because of the combination of only having a couple of choose from, as well as picking the talent traits to focus on those things that you're working with. Very cool. I'll have to look that up then.
Alright, and on that note, we're going to call it a morning. Thank you all for stopping by. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you in the later times. Bye-bye.